Alright everyone, this is Leong here, CEO of Farms Asia, and I happen to be in Dubai now for the next 3 days, and I've just attended an amazing sharing by Dr. Pramod here. So Doctor, do you want to share a bit about yourself to all the viewers here in Singapore, Malaysia and Indonesia?
Hi everyone out there, and it's a joy to be here in Dubai and meet up with Mark. And myself, I'm from India, and I did medicine from Government Medical College Pune. So traditionally I'm an allopath. I'm 46 years of age now.
Can you believe it? He looks so young. 46, he looks like 36, right? Okay, yeah.
And I've been fired up since earlier times to contribute in a meaningful way to a larger audience rather than just dispense medicines to a few. So last, 18 years, I've been working in the field of health and stress management in general, especially with corporates. But last 6 years, I've kind of realigned the focus, and I've been working specifically only with diabetics and families of diabetics, getting their medicines and insulin knocked off.
Ah, all right. So this amazing interview that is not widely seen anywhere, right? And in fact, I'm the lucky one to manage to get Dr. Pramod's time. Thanks for his time. Now, what I'm going to ask Dr. Pramod is 5 very, very essential questions, right? Not those that you Google up, or you find in YouTube, but these are very essential questions. And if you are a person with diabetes, or if you have family members with diabetes, then these questions and to these answers, right, are very, very important, right? So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. I've listed down here, right? So to make sure that I don't, forget about those questions. Number 1, okay, doctor. So can type 2 diabetes be reversed?
Okay, so there are 1,200 plus YouTube videos, okay, on the Freedom from Diabetes channel of type 2 diabetics who are free of medications. So thanks to YouTube, and we have 4 research papers published of hundreds of diabetics who are free. And I think overall in the world now, reversing diabetes as a concept is picking up.
Yes.
And we have overall now more than 6,000 type 2 diabetics, either free of insulin or of medicines or of both, more than 6,000. So to answer that question the question hasn't remained anymore as a question, because it does reverse.
It is a fact, right?
It's a fact.
Yes.
It's a fact. If it was like 2-3 dozen people, it was understood. Maybe it's a property of exclusively a few people. But we have thousands of them who have reversed. So anybody in the audience, either a diabetic or a family member of a diabetic, and still located in the old paradigm, old belief that diabetes cannot be reversed, it's time to shake yourself up, wake yourself up, open yourself to variety of doctors and different things that they're doing to understand that it is reversible, very much reversible. Go for it.
Thank you. This is something that our government has been speaking about it as well. I think it's interesting to get perspectives from different medical experts, health experts from different parts of the world, right? Okay, so second question is this. Now, if, and of course like what you mentioned and what I believe as well, it can be reversed. Now, but what are the 3 key areas, not 3 key things, but 3 key areas that a patient needs to focus on or work on a high level?
Number 1, the patient needs to focus on, which you might find a little generic, but actually it's the most crucial, is understanding. Okay, the patient needs to understand what is diabetes, stand under diabetes. Okay, and why I'm so strong about this is because it's easy to have this diet or that exercise part, but people haven't understood diabetes. It's like it's about sugars coming under control, but that's not what is controlling diabetes. Diabetes actually has nothing to do with the sugars at a root level. Like I'll give a simple example. Let's say when you have fever, you can take paracetamol.
Yes.
It comes down for 8 or 12 hours.
Right.
But then again you need that tablet.
Yes.
Same as diabetes. Your sugars are high, you're taking metformin or any other tablets or insulin. It goes on for 8 or 12 hours. Again you need the tablet or insulin again after some time. The root problem in in fever is infection.
Yes.
Similarly, the root problem in diabetes is insulin resistance. And insulin resistance runs in the whole family. And there are 7 causes for insulin resistance. So the first key area that a person needs to invest in is understanding where the problem is. Okay, and how that insulin resistance is coming from, whatever I'm doing from morning to evening, knowingly,
Right.
unknowingly. Okay, so the second thing which starts happening is questioning your own lifestyle habits and whatever is ingrained in your family as the thing which is healthy.
Yes.
Okay, so second very very important thing is to get into that diet and exercise part, like walking. 45 minutes walking is like a done thing for diabetics, but
Right.
is it really relevant for a diabetic? We don't question it. We find 20 minutes is enough in the first two phases. So once you understand it, then you need to question. Okay, what am I doing? Whether it's optimal or not optimal, and if not optimal, what should I do?
Yes.
And while they start doing, the third thing is all the inner mind, inside self, which will start coming against not doing it to counteract that, because you would crave for some things, because you're habituated for some things.
True.
So you need to have a support system built up of doctor, dietitian, a group of followers, that group, that some kind of a support system which helps you keep on track.
And family members play a very important part as well, right? Because
Yes.
it's the environment. It's never about discipline, right? In my personal opinion, right?
The whole family has to understand
Yes.
diabetes, because even if there's one diabetic in the family, what we say is insulin resistance is running in the entire family. And it shows up. It shows up as obesity. It shows up BP. It shows as thyroid. It shows as PCOD. It shows as joint problem. It shows as snoring at night. It shows as heart attack. And all these happens in the family, and the family members say, okay, you don't have sweets and you don't do this and I'm okay
Yes.
because I don't have diabetes, but they don't realize that they are also on a higher insulin level,
True.
which is what is creating the problems for them.
Right.
So once the whole family understands, starts making small changes, and they're getting motivation for good results, a pat on the back through the sugars
Right.
or weight coming down, then the positivity builds up. It's very important to remain with positive people, with positive energies while you're reversing. Alone, it's a very difficult job. Very difficult to do it alone. You have
Yep.
to be as a part of the environment.
Fully agree. Thank you. Wow, this is, although it's first time, very high level, but at the same time very specific.
Yeah.
I totally understand. If I were just to recap that 3 areas that Dr. Pramod just shared, number 1 is technically going back to understanding, right? You got to understand, right? Number 2 is looking back, question the lifestyle, right? And number 3 is the support system.
Support
right?
system, keep the energy on.
Correct. So even if you just do the first 2 and eventually after a few weeks, few months, you slip back to the old stuff, right? So it's always about the surrounding. It's not about discipline. It's the environment. And like what he mentioned and what all of you guys that we have mentioned over and over again is that your environment. Stay with positive people. Don't stay with negative people, right? They will tell you everything can't be done, but actually it can be done, right?
Correct.
Amazing. Okay, so jumping down to the third question. Now, what is the biggest success factor in your years of experience supporting diabetic patients, right? When they have achieved, the so-called ideal levels, right? And eventually, after a while, they slip back. Now, what is the biggest factor for those people that they never slip back?
So you need to understand human beings over here. Human beings by nature are goal-oriented animals. Okay, so let's say when they come in first, the first goal is to get the sugars down,
True.
to get the medicines down, to get the medicines off. The moment the medicines stop, they don't have a aim. Okay, and you cannot leave them at that.
Yes.
So what we do is we give them the next aim, and that is to pass glucose tolerance test. GTT, 15 teaspoons of glucose. Okay, so the moment, first goal is get the sugars down, second
Right.
goal is get the medicines reduced, third goal is to get the medicine stopped,
Yep.
fourth is clear the GTT. The moment they do that, even after passing GTT, they can slip off.
Okay.
They can slip off. But the only thing is, by the time they pass that GTT, they've undergone such huge learning and neural and behavioral rewiring that it's very difficult for them to get into the same old style.
Yes.
So at that stage also what we do is give them the next set of goals, which could be a 5-kilometer marathon, it could be a 10-kilometer marathon, it could be a 21, it could be a 42. So we have an army of 60 plus year young
Wow.
ladies and men who have never ran a marathon before the age of 60. Never ever, not even a 2-kilometer or 3-kilometer. And now they are doing a 21-kilometer Ladakh marathon. Ladakh is it's like at 11,000 square feet height. So look, the motivation needs to come from within. They need to be trained to set the next set of goals. What do I do next? What
Just
do
gotta
I
keep
do
chasing
next?
the carrot, right?
Yeah, they
Yes.
have to have the next carrot in place.
Right.
The goal has to be there. If the goal gets lost, they get lost. And that's very, very crucial if they should not slip back.
True. So in life, coming back to every aspect, not only health, set goals
Yeah.
every time, right?
Every
and not
time.
1 year, set goals every month
Yeah.
and every quarter. Huh?
Yeah, the moment one
Right.
is achieved, you need to have the next one.
Yes. Yes, this is amazing. Okay, now down to the fourth question, okay? And it gets interesting, true, right? Now, so does exercise really matter, or it's only diet, you know? Because everyone keeps talking about, you know, you don't need exercise, you just gotta watch what you eat. So again, what in your personal experience does it matter, exercise?
Again, huge experience on this. So what happens typically, you know, is it's easier for people to change a few items in diet every day than to start changing their exercise pattern suddenly. So initially what we do is let the diet part be changed, and the initial results also come with the change in exercise, change in diet. Okay, and the initial results of a few kgs loss and all that will happen with diet. Along with that, you keep simple exercises going in. But when you look at sustainability, it will never come only with diet. Like we typically say, there are obese cows and they become thin cows.
I like this analogy, yes.
But the thin cow doesn't become a horse. The cow also eats grass. The horse is also eating grass.
Yes.
Okay, but the horse is converting that into muscle. The cow is converting that into fat.
Fats, true.
Why? Because the cow walks and she does yoga. Okay, not that yoga is bad. Yoga is great. But when you come to reversing diabetes, yoga will play a certain role in the initial stages. You need to pick up muscle building later, which they don't understand.
True.
They don't understand that. So exercise is very much an integral part of reversal. Just that one has to introduce it a little systematically, a little non-threatening, step by step. But long-term sustainability will come from exercise. Long-term goal setting will also come from exercise. So one has to make them specialized. Like what we do is, in the maintenance space, we make them specialize. Like they start identifying, am I a marathoner built? I'm a cyclist built, I'm a swimmer. Look, when you look at Olympic athletes, not that they are going to become Olympic athletes, but a cricketer looks like a cricketer. Opening batsman is in a particular way, a footballer is a particular way. You know, a hockey player, everybody has a physical structure.
Yes.
And they need to sample different exercises, find something that they can really do well at, and try and do more and more of that.
True.
Like, let's say in Singapore, Malaysia, there's a lot of Tai Chi and, you know, a lot of Qigong and other practices happening. Great. But if they are obese, and if they're just doing Qi practices, that will not get released until they do some more work on the diet.
Right.
And then some muscle building also. So exercise also has to be improved.
Yes.
And it has to be individualized, and one has to push oneself in understanding exercise also. It's a big ocean.
Yes.
It's a very big ocean.
But thank you for this, right? I think this is amazing. And of course, for any of you that are watching right now, right, if you have never exercised in your life, doesn't mean that, you know, by tomorrow you got to start hitting the gym for 2 hours. It doesn't work that way. You can start as simple as 20 minutes walk, like what, you know, Dr. Pramod was sharing earlier, right? So
or they can
stuff,
watch our videos, World's Best Warm Up by Dr. Pramod Tripathi.
Oh, okay.
On YouTube. It's a beautiful exercise where you rub the body, move the joints, shake the body, tap the body.
All right.
Very simple warm up for all diabetics and obese people who can't do too much exercise.
I'm going to check that out. Cool.
Check.
All right. The final $1 million question, right? So now, you see, personally for me, I've been working with close to 2,000 diabetic patients in Malaysia, Singapore, and also Indonesia, right? And one of the things that we have always been questioned is that when it comes to intermittent fasting. Right? So, and of course, for me, I'm a believer that intermittent fasting or fasting does help diabetic patients. But of course, there are skeptics as well, saying that this is just a short-term thing, you know, and again, you know, it doesn't really work. It's just a myth. And again, I don't want to speak from my personal experience because my sample size is only about 2,000. Your sample size is much larger than mine, definitely, I think, and it's good to again take, you know, experiences from different health experts, right, and especially coming from a different geography. So, what is your comments on fasting?
So we train diabetics to fast. Already we are doing it for the last 6 years. We make them undergo something called as juice feasting once a week, where they have around 12 to 14 glasses of different colored juices.
Wow.
A juice feasting. And the remaining 6 days, they start skipping meals. And it's done a very systematic manner. First week is just 3 meals off, second meal 6 meals off, third meal 9 meals off, and fourth week onwards they start getting into a little longish fast, like a 48-hour fast. And then there's a competition set in within the group of who fasts the longest.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
And our record right now is 216 hours of fasting. 216 hours of fasting, which will be mainly on liquid diet, some chia seeds with water.
Can they still function here?
So that's the interesting thing. Look, when the brain gets ketone bodies, which happens through burning of fat and ketosis, it functions even better because the mental clarity soars up when you get ketones. And it's happened with you already, with you and everyone. Sometimes we skip a lunch, right? We are really busy. We do skip it, and then we realize we finished a lot more work during that time, and it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I didn't eat. It does happen already inside our system. It's just that we've gone on the wrong path. The moment we feel hungry, we give food.
Yes.
And when we give food, what we are telling the body is, here I'm supplying you glucose, don't touch my fat. I'm giving you glucose from the top, so don't touch my fat. So when you do fasting, you are actually retraining the body to burn fat. You're retraining the body. The mechanisms which have got blunted, the mechanisms which have got forgotten, which are lying idle, they are activated. So the body starts learning how to burn fat, generate ketone bodies out of it, and your mental clarity soars up. In fact, fasting has been used with Olympic athletes, with cricketers, with different kinds of high performance people also now, because the moment you fast just for 48 hours, your growth hormones increases 5 times. Within 48 hours, 2 hours, 2 days, your growth hormone increases 5 times. And a lot of adrenaline, cortisol keeps your BMR up. Your muscles are kept intact. So fasting is an ancient tradition. Okay, it's been there in all cultures. It's been lost its glamour in the last 50, 60 years since medicines have come. We need to bring it back big time. And we need to educate ourselves on the ocean of fasting, because there's a whole ocean of how to fast, when to fast, and how to monitor yourself. Because diabetics, yes, why doctors don't say them to fast is because they can land up in a hypo. Their sugars can go down too low and they might have a crisis. So from cautionary perspective, it makes sense. But it's not like a death sentence that you can't fast. If you are in touch with the doctor, if you're reporting the doctor on an app, your sugar levels every day, which is what we encourage. We give one doctor for one whole year. They're reporting the sugar levels every day. When you're fasting, the doctor knows you're fasting today. So they'll reduce the medicines accordingly. And then you are safe. So as a diabetic, you must fast, but ensure you get monitored by a qualified doctor so that you don't land up in a problem when you're fasting.
Absolutely. Very, very good. So don't stick to the whole mindset that we have to eat 3 times or 6 times a day. You know, that is just part of a belief system that is built up, right? So I've definitely, benefited a lot from your amazing sharing, and it's really great to know that in different parts of the world we share common understanding from the people that we have supported from data, from science, and from facts. Okay, and please follow Dr. Pramod, amazing guy, right? And
we have many patients in Singapore. Some of them have passed glucose tolerance test also, sitting in Singapore, never meeting me, meeting me. They follow our online program. Okay, they watch me online, they go to the presentations online, report online, consult online, everything is online. So anybody needs any help, Freedom from Diabetes is what you just need to Google for.
Sure. All right. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you.
Same
for our audience here. I'll see you soon, and everyone, stay tuned for more amazing health updates. Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.